It was a day like any other in the courthouse. But today the air felt different. The courtroom was packed with people eager to witness something big. All eyes were on the front, where the judge sat, waiting to begin. The tension was thick, and whispers filled the room. Why? Because the famous singer Billy Joel was in court. The case wasn't about music or fame though. Billy Joel was there for a legal dispute. What seemed like a regular case quickly turned into something unexpected. He had hired a lawyer to defend him, but what happened next would shock everyone. On the opposite side, there was a ruthless lawyer. He was known for his sharp tongue and no-nonsense attitude. He'd built his career on breaking down people's reputations, and he wasn't about to stop now. He stood up with a smug smile. The room fell silent as he prepared to speak. Everyone could feel the confidence oozing from him. He was ready to attack. He had no plans to hold back, but he wasn't just going after the case. He had bigger targets in mind. As he spoke, his words were filled with arrogance. But little did he know, his target wasn't just a regular person. This was Billy Joel, the piano man, the music legend. And while the lawyer thought he was in control, Billy Joel was about to show him he had underestimated him. The crowd waited. The battle in the courtroom was about to begin. The lawyer stood tall, his voice cold and sharp as he addressed the court. He wasted no time. "Let's talk about this man's so-called career," he began, pointing toward Billy Joel. His tone was mocking, almost dismissive. "A man who thinks his music still matters in today's world. A man who clings to the past." The lawyer's words echoed through the courtroom. Some in the crowd shifted in their seats, surprised by the harshness. He didn't hold back. "He calls himself a legend, but look at him," the lawyer continued, his eyes scanning Billy Joel, who remained calm and quiet. "Outdated. A relic of another time, songs about things that don't even make sense anymore." Billy Joel's face didn't change. He didn't flinch. He simply sat there, hands folded, watching the lawyer with quiet patience. The lawyer's mocking tone grew louder. "And let's talk about his lyrics. Piano man. Really? A man playing a piano in a bar full of drunks? Is that the best he can do?" The courtroom was still. Some people in the audience looked uncomfortable, while others exchanged glances. No one had expected such an attack. The lawyer, however, seemed to take pleasure in his words. "He's not a voice of the people anymore. He's a joke. In this case," he shook his head, "it's just another desperate attempt to stay relevant." He paused for effect, his smile spreading wider. "Billy Joel is stuck in the past, and that's where he belongs. No amount of fame or old hits will change that." The lawyer leaned back in his chair, clearly proud of his performance. He'd said what he came to say, leaving behind a silence that was heavy with disbelief. The crowd seemed torn, unsure of what would happen next. Would Billy Joel fight back, or would he take the insult lying down? All eyes now turned to Billy Joel, waiting for his response. Billy Joel didn't say a word at first. He just sat there, still and calm. The room was filled with tension, and the lawyer's harsh words hung in the air like smoke. But Billy's face didn't show anger or frustration. Instead, it held a quiet confidence. After a moment, Billy took a deep breath. He looked around the courtroom, meeting the eyes of the judge, the lawyer, and the people in the audience. He didn't rush. He wasn't going to let his emotions control him. Then slowly he stood up. The room grew even quieter. Everyone was waiting to hear what he would say. With a calm smile, Billy spoke. "You know," he began, "I've been in this business a long time, and I've heard my share of insults. But none of them ever really bothered me, because I know something you don't." The lawyer raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued but still confident in his position. Billy continued, his voice steady but with a sharp edge. "I know that music is more than just a hit or a fad. It's about connection. It's about emotion. It's about telling a story that resonates with people, no matter where they are or when they're listening." He paused, his eyes never leaving the lawyer. "And I know that my music has connected with millions. People who have found comfort in my songs. People who have shared their own stories because of the lyrics I've written." Billy took a step forward, and the courtroom seemed to lean in, hanging on every word. "So when you say my songs don't matter anymore, I have to disagree," he said, his voice growing stronger. because my music isn't about being relevant, it's about being real." The lawyer, who had been so certain just moments ago, now looked a little less sure. Billy's words were cutting, but they were also filled with truth. The crowd could feel it. Billy Joel wasn't just a singer, he was a storyteller, and his words were more powerful than anything the lawyer could say. Billy smiled again, but this time it wasn't a simple smile. It was a smile that told the lawyer, this wasn't over yet. Billy Joel didn't stop there. His words had already made an impact, but he wasn't finished. He wasn't going to let the lawyer's mockery slide. He was going to show everyone why his music had stood the test of time. He took a moment, letting the silence linger. The lawyer had been quick to judge, but now he looked uncomfortable, almost defensive. Billy could see it. The smug smile that had once been plastered on the lawyer's face was gone. Billy's voice was calm, but there was a sharpness to it now. "You want to talk about my songs being outdated? Let me tell you something." He paused again, his gaze fixed on the lawyer. "My songs are about real life. They're about the struggles and dreams that everyone goes through. They're about finding hope in dark times. They're timeless because people can relate to them, no matter where they are in life." The lawyer opened his mouth, as if to interrupt, but Billy raised a hand, signaling him to wait. Billy wasn't done yet. "You see," Billy continued, "I wrote Piano Man because I saw people in a bar trying to escape from their problems. I wasn't just writing about a guy playing the piano. I was writing about people trying to hold on to something when everything else feels like it's slipping away. People get that. They feel that. And that's why the song still resonates." Billy took a step closer to the lawyer. "And you know what? It's not just that song, it's songs like Just the Way You Are, or New York State of Mind. Those songs speak to something deeper. They speak to the heart." The courtroom was silent, but you could hear the subtle shift in the air. Some people in the audience nodded, others leaned forward in their seats. The lawyer, once so confident, was starting to squirm. Billy wasn't just defending his music, he was defending the meaning behind it, the power it had to touch people's lives. He wasn't just a singer, he was an artist. And in that moment, he showed the court why he had earned the title. "You may not understand it," Billy said softly, but firmly. "But there are millions of people out there who do. They don't need to be reminded that they're not alone. My songs have been there for them when nothing else was." The lawyer didn't know how to respond. He'd expected a fight, maybe even an angry outburst, but what Billy Joel gave him was something far more powerful. A lesson in humility. The room was buzzing with energy now. People were talking quietly, nodding in agreement with Billy's words. The lawyer was left standing there, trying to process the shift in the courtroom. He had underestimated Billy Joel, and now everyone knew it. Billy Joel had turned the tide, and it wasn't just the lawyer who felt it. The entire room had changed. As soon as the court session ended, the buzz in the room was electric. People couldn't stop talking about Billy Joel's fiery response. Some whispered to each other, others just sat in stunned silence. But it wasn't just the courtroom that had noticed. Minutes after Billy's speech, someone in the courtroom pulled out their phone and shared a short video clip of the moment online. It wasn't long before that clip went viral. On social media, people couldn't stop talking about what had just happened. "Billy Joel shuts down ruthless lawyer in court." One post read, "Watch Billy Joel school this lawyer on why his music matters," said another. Within hours, the video had millions of views. The reactions came pouring in. Fans of Billy Joel flooded the comments, praising his calm, measured response, and the way he defended his music with such passion. "Billy Joel is a legend, no question," one comment said. "He's not just a musician, he's a storyteller, and he just proved it in the courtroom." Others who hadn't really known Billy's music before now found themselves curious. "I've never really listened to Billy Joel, but after seeing that, I'm going to check him out," one person tweeted. The viral video not only gave Billy more respect, it sparked interest in his music from a whole new generation. Even celebrities and other musicians couldn't resist chiming in. "Billy just showed us all what real artistry looks like," one well-known singer tweeted. "This is why his songs will never die." It seemed that everyone who saw the video had something to say, and it was all positive for Billy. But the lawyer who had mocked Billy Joel, things weren't going as well for him. The internet quickly turned against him. Posts piled up, making fun of his attack on Billy Joel, with many people saying his rude comments weren't just out of line, they were uncalled for. Some people even found old interviews and clips of the lawyer bragging about how tough he was in court. It became clear that he wasn't as tough as he thought. This lawyer got wrecked by a singer, one viral post joked. Talk about karma. As the days went on, the story continued to spread. News outlets picked up the story, talking about how a courtroom drama turned into a viral moment. Billy Joel once again was at the center of the world's attention, but this time, it wasn't for his music alone, it was for his grace, his wisdom, and his fierce defense of what he believed in. Meanwhile, the lawyer, he stayed quiet. His reputation, once built on arrogance, now seemed shattered. He hadn't just lost the case, he'd lost the respect of many people who had once admired him. Billy Joel, on the other hand, had gained more than just support. He had gained something far more important, a reminder that real power doesn't come from insults or harsh words. It comes from staying true to yourself, no matter what. In the weeks that followed, Billy Joel's response in court continued to dominate the news. Interviews flooded in, with Billy being asked about the moment over and over again. He always responded the same way, with humility. "I was just speaking my truth," he'd say with a calm smile. "I've been lucky enough to have a career that means something to people. I'm not about to let someone take that away." News outlets picked up the story, and shared clips of his powerful words. Many talked about how Billy had handled the situation with class and poise, showing the world why his music had stood the test of time. Some even called it a masterclass in defending your legacy. It wasn't just a viral moment, it had become a lesson in standing up for what you believe in, even in the face of mockery. Billy's social media pages saw a huge increase in followers. People who had once only heard a few of his songs now dived into his music catalog. New fans were discovering his timeless hits like Uptown Girl, We Didn't Start the Fire, and Only the Good Die Young. His music was now reaching a whole new audience, and his fan base had never been stronger. Meanwhile, the lawyer was nowhere to be seen in the media. His silence was telling. The arrogance he'd once carried so proudly had faded, replaced by a quiet retreat from the public eye. Some of his former supporters distanced themselves from him, and many people seemed to lose respect for him. Billy's victory wasn't just in the courtroom, it was in the way he handled the situation afterward. The lawyer may have mocked him, but Billy Joel showed the world that his words and music were more powerful than any insult. His songs continued to inspire, and his message of honesty, connection, and resilience resonated with even more people than before. Through it all, Billy Joel remained the same. He wasn't about fame or attention, he was about creating music that mattered, connecting with people, and staying true to himself. And the world, once again, was reminded why he had earned his place as one of the greatest songwriters of all time.